crafty friends, it's Jess from jesscrafts.com, and today I am here with a card for Kat Scrappiness. My original inspiration for this card was to use these new chocolate cake sprinkles from Kat Scrappiness. I was really excited about all of the new sprinkle line, and I have a few of them, but I thought these ones would work well for a winter card, and I wanted to create a winter card that was like, could be Christmas, but wasn't explicitly Christmas in case I forget to send out a card on time, which, happens from time to time for me. So I grabbed this ice cream from Punny Snacks and the stitched layered snowman die from Kat Scrappiness. And I thought, well, what a more perfect treat for a snowman than an ice cream. I stamped the ice cream in some angel pink, I believe is the name, memento ink. And the idea there was that I didn't want heavy black lines. I'm going to be using some Nuvo embellishment mousse to create my ice cream. In the Kat Scrappiness shop, there are like an entire range of beautiful colors of Nuvo mousse. And this one was just well suited for Christmas because I have this spring green one here. But it had it's not exactly Christmas green, but like it reminded me of mint ice cream. And so I thought it worked out well, but still kept with the sort of Christmassy, but doesn't have to be Christmassy sort of feel I was going for. So I spread the mousse out on top of the ice cream after I fussy cut it out. And then I'm going to let the mousse kind of be my glue, and I'm going to push the sprinkles right into the mousse. And so for that reason, you actually probably want a thicker layer of mousse than you might for some other projects. So I was kind of liberal in gobbing it on there, and I'm working my Ranger craft sheet, so I'll be able to wipe up all the extra mousse that is around my ice cream. And you see it pops up nice and easily covered right there. So I definitely recommend a non-stick mat to do this technique. And you can use that Post-it note tape that I'm holding down my ice cream with multiple times. I colored the bottom with Copics. I kept it really simple. I used, I think, R17 and 14 for a simple red. It's not sort of a bold Christmassy red, but a softer tone to kind of go with the fact that the green wasn't a super bold Christmas green either. I toyed with the idea of using the mousse, like dipping the sequin in mousse to make sure that it had a little bit more stickiness, but that personally, I didn't feel like that worked out. I felt like the best thing to do was to just add a fair amount of mousse on top. And so now I have two little ice creams that I can set off to the side. I actually made a few of them, but I'm just going to make one card today. I often do that where I make multiple embellishments or I color a bunch of images, and then I just sort of put it off to the side. And it's there and ready to go when I'm crafting, not for a project, but just for fun. So actually, I did make a third one here because the mousse had dried up a bit, and I think that's just because I live in a really dry part of the country, and also it's winter here. We don't keep our house too warm, and my craft room in particular is never warm, unfortunately. So anyway, I think that's probably more what it was. So I did spritz a little water in the mousse, but I don't know if that's what you're supposed to do. So you could contact Tonic Studios, who makes the Nuvo mousse, and it still worked. There was nothing wrong with it. I think maybe it wouldn't spread over a stencil quite as well in that case. So anyway, I am now ready to assemble my snowman. And I cut it out again. I cut out two of it, so I fully assembled a second one as well. But I didn't put it on a card because I wanted it sort of ready to go for when some inspiration struck later. But when you're die cutting out all these little pieces and you have gotten all these supplies out, because if you'll notice, I'm using a couple of stamp sets and a couple of dies and all that. Sometimes it's easier to just make a few. I'm going to glue all of the pieces using Ranger Multimedia Matte and a bit of ATG tape. I really like the ATG tape. I think it's really strong and holds well, but it doesn't work for tiny pieces. And the Multimedia Matte's been perfect for that. I feel like since I've gotten Multimedia Matte a few years ago, there's all these new other glues that are so excellent out there. And I'm like, I don't know, my old glue's working just fine still, and I got a couple of bottles of it on sale one time, and you know, I'm things like glue, I'm never quite sure why we're always trying to get the like latest and greatest glue. It kind of all works the same, right? I'd rather save it for the dyes, especially, I mean, Kat has such reasonable prices for her dyes, so I'd rather get a new dye set, but that's just me. So I did color the scarf. I had cut it out of white cardstock, but then the arms and the hat, I just cut out of some colored cardstock, the eyes, etc., etc. And I wanted to make it look like he was holding his ice cream. Now, I realized thinking about it, like looking at it now, he doesn't have a mouth. So I'm not really sure how he's eating this ice cream, but maybe I could draw in a little mouth after the fact. So I was ready to create my background, and I wanted to use some other this year Christmas dyes, because like the Snowman I had last year and it's super cute, and it doesn't really matter when it came out. It's still fun to use, but I had some new winter dyes from Kat and I wanted to give them a shot. So here is the Crafters Essentials Winter Die Set, and like all the Crafters Essentials sets, it includes some pretty versatile dyes, and in particular there's this really beautiful background dye here that cuts out a stitched border as well as some sort of stitched, like I want to call them like wind lines, and there's little stitched snowflakes in there, which are a bit tricky to see on camera, but I will emphasize them with the jewels later, and the still picture you can see, and you can visit over at the blog. So I attached the snowman. The sentiment is from the Merry Critters stamp set that you saw earlier. Then I'm going to finish everything off with these teal jewels. And it might look like, you know, like why am I placing them there in particular? But again, there are little snowflakes stitched or embossed into that background die, and you can see it as I, you know, if I put my hand over, because it creates a little bit of a shadow that makes it more visible. So I'm just going to take those teal jewels and stick them down there. Love Kat jewels because you get so many in a pack, and they're not sticky back, but that doesn't matter because you just add some glue. And that is it for my card today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're interested in more crafting tutorials, be sure to subscribe to my channel. There's a coupon code in the video description for you, as well as links to the products that I used. Have an awesome day. Bye.